First, homage to the lineage gurus, to the Venerable Mang Liaoming, homage to Master Sakya Dzogchen, homage to the 16 Dharma King Karmapa, and homage to Master Dzogchen Dorji. Homage homage to the main deity of Homa, Siddhartha, the Buddha Mother with the white repelling canopy. Simu, all Dharma masters, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma instructors, Dharma assistants, temple directors, all disciples present here and over the internet. And our guests today, the wife of Secretary General Daniel Liao from the Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Taiwan, Dharma Sister Judy, and the accountant to the True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa and her husband. Producers for the Geni Diansang Shinten from CTI TV Taiwan, Dharma Sister Rebecca Xuyaqi, Dr. Zhuang, and Dr. Zhou, and Dr. Huang, and Dr. Huang Zi from Hong Kong. Good afternoon. How do you do? Cantonese. Thank you, and eat more, help yourself. This is something that we would say on the dinner table. Take your time to eat. So today we perform the Homa of Siddhartha and her mudra. This is like an umbrella or canopy, like an umbrella, parasol. That's her mudra. It's very easy to remember. So an umbrella and a stick. And the sixth syllable is Om, radiating white light. And the mantra, the short mantra. It's like the strong armor mantra. Hom Mama Hom Ni Soha. Her origin was in the Triyastrimsa heaven, was fighting against the Asura heaven. You know, we have wars on earth in the human world, not only between countries, like before between Israel and Palestine. They had wars, and now that America was controlling the Islam, that's also wars between countries. And in the early time, before we have wars. We have countries, they also have wars between tribes, like we have tribes in China. So from Guangdong, that's Cantonese, that's one tribe. And in Taiwan, there are 4 primary tribes. One is the Taiwanese, or the Fukienese. That's the southern Fujian province. And that's the local Taiwanese. And then the immigrants from China, we call it that they're the mainland Chinese, and then the Hakkanese. And then also the Aboriginal tribe of Taiwan. So they are 4 primary tribes in Taiwan. And in China, there are even more tribes. And sometimes there are wars between tribes, like Tibet. Xinjiang. And in Yunnan, there's the Yi tribe. And in Fujian, that's the Minnan. And in the northeast, that's the Manchuria. Like Master Lien Yin, he's a Manchurian. He's from the northeast. There are several different Manchurian tribes. There were 8 primary Manchurian tribes. So which Manchurian are you? So the proper yellow Manchurian. Nuerhuazi also. So you're the royal Manchurian. So in the northeast, they are Manchurian. And also the Han tribe. And then there are also wars between tribes. So journey to the west, so they fought against the Indians, the American Indians. And then there are also Mongolians, Tibetans, Xinjiang is Yunnan, the northeast, the Fujian, Canton, and the Middle Kingdom. It was the Han tribe. It was actually quite small, and there are many other tribes surrounding. Ha, Miao, Yu. And sometimes between these tribes there are wars. So there are wars between countries, between tribes, between families. They also have wars. Or inside the family, sometimes the war is even worse. Sometimes it's not only real wars, but also cold wars, where they don't talk to each other. The male and female characters don't talk to each other. And sometimes they stop talking with each other for half a year, several years sometimes. And in order to communicate, they just leave a note. So sometimes there would be wars between 2 people. And not only on earth, even in heavens there are wars. How could there be wars in heavens? Yes. Like the war between Asura heaven and the Triastrimsa heaven are the most obvious one. The Triastrimsa heaven is one of the heavens of the realm of desire. And the king is the Jet Emperor or the Indra or Sakya. And he fought with the king of the Asura heaven. And Asura won over the Triastrimsa. And within 28 days, the Triastrimsa heaven will disappear forever. So the King Indra, asked for help from Sakyamuni Buddha. So Sakyamuni Buddha entered into meditation, and in meditation, the tip of his crown opened, and a brilliant white light was emitted. So, and above the crown of Sakyamuni Buddha, a huge canopy appeared. Why is this canopy yellow? It should be white. It's called white carousel. It's not yellow carousel. Yellow canopy or yellow parasol. Who thought of yellow color? So his or her brain must be filled with yellow stuff or X-rated things. So the grandson of Abura is here. So your dad, your granddad, must have all X-rated stuff in his mind. It was designed by Master. It should have been white. The grandfather of Reverend Lien Ming. So Siddhartha is white. That's why Grandmaster is wearing white. And the yellow canopy, yellow parasol would be for the emperor. But Siddhartha, the Golden Mother with the white parasol, appeared from the crown of Sakyamuni Buddha. So that's how she was emitted. So the Buddha Mother was holding the white canopy and covering the whole Triastrimsa heaven. And from then on, all the weapons of the Asura heaven could not attack it because it was protected by the white canopy. It was protected by the white canopy. That's why the Jet Emperor, the King Indra, still exists till now. So that's the origin of Siddhartha. So when the Triastrimsa heaven or the King Indra fought with the King Asura, finally he won because from the crown of Sakyamuni Buddha, the Siddhartha appeared with the white canopy covering the whole Triastrimsa heaven. So Asura could not attack no matter what. So the Triastrimsa heaven was saved. So there was something very important about Siddhartha is repelling. So if you have a black magic, if you're not the primary supplicant for the Homa, that's a big mistake. Because if you have the protection of Siddhartha, no black magics or no curse would be able to invade you. So if someone thrusts anything at you, you could use this to protect you. Then you would be protected. You're under the canopy. No black magics would be able to touch you. No ghosts or spirits would be able to touch you. That's why she's also called the repelling mother. Repelling and protecting mother. So Siddhartha armor mantra. So the canopy is like a very strong armor. And the white umbrella rises to very, very, very tall, and then covering the whole person or the whole country or the whole place. So repelling and protecting. So after you repel it, doesn't matter how horrible the black magic or the black spell is, you can repel it back to him. No matter how hard, the repelling would be that hard, the same with the same force. And the person who inflicted the spell would guard it. So she is a protector that can repel. So Siddhartha Patra, Ushina Vijaya, Shingamuka, and Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, they all could repel. So that means is whatever evil power inflicted upon you, you can repel it back with the same power. Like if it's a very sharp sword inflicted on you, it would turn direction and repel back to the person who inflicted it. Guru Padmasambhava was deep in the forest and fighting with 500 evildoers. And Shingamuka, the lion-faced Dakini, descended to protect Guru Padmasambhava. And Guru Padmasambhava used the repelling and protecting mantra and repel back, and all those 500 evildoers all fell to the ground. So the repelling mantra is really powerful. This is something that you need to learn. Siddhartha Patra, the 1,000 eyes, 1,000 arms, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, Ushina Vijaya, Shingamuka, and Hayagriva. All these 5 deities have the repelling power. So you recite the mantra backward. That's the key formula. So if the mantra is Om, then you recite it. You recite it backward. Ha so ni hum ma ma hum. Ha so ni hum. Then that becomes repelling mantra. If someone is attacking you, then you recite Ha so ni hum ma ma hum. Then whatever inflicted upon you would be repelled back. So I rarely mention this. So to repel, all you need to do is to recite the mantra backward. So anyone hearing this is truly fortunate. So don't tell anyone else. This is the repelling mantra. Because this is a secret, so I'd rather not tell, but now I make it public. Just recite it backward. Ha so ni hum ma ma hum. So if you know how to repel, how to recite the repelling mantra, then the inflictor may be harmed. So if you just recite the mantra forward the right way, then you will not repel or harm the other person. But if something is inflicted upon you, you can just pray to Siddhartha to protect you. And then if you recite the repelling mantra, the person who casted the spell would fall to the ground. And Siddhartha can also protect a country. So a canopy could protect a heaven. So of course it can also protect a country. So in Tantric Buddhism, Buddhas and Bodhisattvas can protect a country. The 4 heavenly kings can also protect a country, can also help you. Siddhartha, Ushina Vijaya, 1,000 eyes, 1,000 arms, Kuan Yin, Hayagriva, and Singamukha, or Sentongma, the lion-faced Dakini. So these 5 deities have the repelling mantra. So you don't want to recite just any mantra. If you recite Om Mani Padme Hum backward, and also Kala Chakra, some Herukas. Today I'm just talking about the Buddha Mother. Siddhartha, all Buddha Mother with the white canopy. 1,000 eyes, 1,000 arms, Kuan Yin, Buddha Mother, Ushina Vijaya, Singamukha, and Hayagriva. Hayagriva is also mother. They all have repelling mantras. Some Herukas or the Vidyarajas also have repelling mantras with mudra mantra. With mudra mantra and visualization, you can visualize her like this. Oh, this is difficult to visualize. She looks like 1,000 eyes, 1,000 arms, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, but with the parasol. It's difficult to visualize this one. You can visualize a simple one with a white Buddha Mother holding a white parasol. With the white umbrella or parasol, and the other hand is forming the bestowing mudra. And just visualize her like that. One head, two arms would be simpler to visualize, and it would be more difficult to visualize an arms, Siddhartha or the one with 3 heads, 6 arms. So she is a transformation body from the white light emitted by the Buddha's crown, Buddha Sakyamuni. So her origin, her look, her mudra, her mantra, then you can do the deity yoga. Now let's continue on the Great Perfection Dharma. At the time Sakyamuni Buddha was entering parinirvana, he said, "From now on, I will not appear in the human world any longer." 28 years later, in the 33 heavens, there would be supreme teachings that would be prevalent. That would be the dissemination of the Great Perfection Dharma. Also, in the eastern corner of the Jambudvipa continent, there is a country where the Great Perfection Dharma will be widespread. And the master of the Lanka Dharma transmitter is the emanation of Vajrapani Bodhisattva. So Sakyamuni Buddha predicted that in the future, in the 33 heavens, there would be a supreme teaching. So the 33 heavens is the heaven of the Kunga Ningpo. And on earth, it also exists. And so in Tibet, the Great Perfection Dharma lineage was transmitted by Vajrapani Bodhisattva during the second turn of the Dharma wheel, and the lineage is called the Wisdom Holder lineage. So, and in Nyingma of Tibetan Buddhism, the red sack, the lineage gurus are, as this I spoke on this. The first was Adi Buddha, the second was Vairocana Buddha, the third was the 5 Dhyani Vajraherukas, or the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, the 5 Dhyani Tathagatas, the fourth holder was Sakyamuni Buddha, the fifth was Vajrapani, the sixth was Garabdorje or Prahevajra. That was the lineage holder on earth. The seventh was Sri Singha. That's Sri Singha. And the eighth was Guru Padmasambhava. And there was one more from Garabdorje to Manjushri Mitra. So I missed one, Manjushri Mitra. I already knew about the lineage many, many years ago, decades ago. The lineage in the Nyingma for Great Perfection Dharma. So, prior to the third holders, that was before Buddhism was born in this world. The Great Perfection Dharma is the heart seal of the Tathagata. It is also the playful and as-you-wish transformation of his transcendent prowess of the Adibuddha Samantabhadra Tathagata. When Vajrapani Bodhisattva received the mystic profundity, the Great Perfection Dharma reached India. So prior to the seventh holder, the Great Perfection Dharma was only widespread in India. Only during the period of Guru Padmasambhava that Great Perfection Dharma reached Tibet, when the oldest sect of Tibetan Buddhism, the Nyingma was established, replacing the old Bon tradition. So the next chapter in this book would be Guru Padmasambhava turning the third wheel of the great perfection Dharma. And I, Guru Lianzeng, is the one truly comprehends Vajrapani Bodhisattva. So I'm the one who truly understands the three secrets. So I also most comprehend the Vajrapani Bodhisattva. So like Vajrasattva, I am also the holder for the wisdom lineage. And I also have the empowerment for the wisdom holder. So the old born tradition or the shamanism in Tibet believes that everything has a spirit, because in the ancient time they didn't know that thunders and lightnings and earthquakes and winds, and they all refer to them as the God. So anything is referred or called with the name God. That's the shamanism. And the Bon tradition was the local belief in Tibet. So after Guru Padmasambhava arrived in Tibet, it destroyed the Bon tradition and transformed all the gods of the local tradition into Buddhist Dharma protectors. There are lots of things on earth that's rather different, like gods and ghosts are slightly different. And the difference is God has great power and ghosts have small power. That's the difference. And Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are not related to gods and ghosts. Buddha is an awakened one. So Buddha means an awakened one or enlightened one. So Buddha is different from gods, because gods can still get into wars, or ghosts. Ghosts too fight against each other. So something are different from each other. Someone bought a mimosa and asked the shopkeeper, you know, the mimosa that I bought yesterday, doesn't matter how I touch it, it would not close the leaves. The shopkeeper reacted quickly, and then he said that maybe the mimosa that you bought was the one that's have no shame, shameless mimosa. So ghosts, they're also gentleman ghosts, they're also the jerk ghosts. You know, the other night I saw my father. In my meditation, I saw my father appearing. He rarely appeared. When he left, he just said, Katsu, I'm leaving. He never appeared. But the other day he did. I recognized him. His look, he's like my dad. So after he got to the Buddha land, he should have transformed to become the look of the Buddha land. So he should have showed me that he's already arrived in Buddha land and showed me the Buddha land look. But no, he stayed the same. So this is problematic because he stayed the same look. And then this father is problematic, so he told me that now I'm living in the Western realm, which is columbarium at the Taiwan Lizang temple. And my son and my daughters never make offerings to me on the 1st and 15th of the lunar month. So I have no new clothes and no food to eat. So I am like a beggar, begging for food everywhere. So you should at least visit me on the 1st and the 15th and make offerings so that your dad would be respectable. And I thought, what kind of ghost is this? My dad is still on the human world and he's not gone to the Buddha land? That would be embarrassment to me. I bardo deliver so many spirits, but I haven't bardo delivered my dad, my father. How could that be? But my father showed his look to me and he asked for food and drink and clothes. So I asked him, Dad, so how much did you write in your will for me? So I have to bargain. So when you die, you have inheritance. So how much did you write in your will for me? And then he said, you're the eldest son. Of course, I give you the biggest piece. And when I heard that, I knew something was wrong. Why? Because I had told my dad before that there's no need for you to write my name in your will. There's no need for you to give me anything. You can just divide them between my 4 sisters. And the caretaker, the Dharma brother who took care of my father. And that's how the will was. When the will was read, and it was divided between the 4 sisters and the caretaker, Dharma brother. But there's none for me. So that ghost was wrong. He said that he gave me the biggest piece, but that was wrong. But piece in Chinese can also mean stool. So I know that this is a counterfeit. It's a so there's a counterfeit. It's a fake. And he was trying to get food and drink and money. So there is a fraud. So I told him, from elementary school till high school, there were 3 books on your bed, on the bed head. So what are the titles of these 3 books? Oh, well, but I know the names of your sisters, all 4 sisters, and the caretaker of Dharma brother. But no, I want to know is the titles of the books that you put next to your bed. Because I have read those books too, from cover to cover. So I know that he had those 3 books. So the ghost could not say. So I told him to get out. You are a counterfeit, imposture. And then he became like a fuzzy green light color and ran. So that's a ghost, and the ghost was trying to trick me. Of course, I would not be tricked. I knew there are differences between ghosts and gods and Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And the books that my dad had on his bedside table was this first, second, and third of the some Chinese classic. So now the ghosts know and heard. So I will not use the same question if there would be another ghost imposter. So there's also a difference between the Bon tradition and the Nyingma Pa. And there's also a difference between Tibetan Buddhism and Japanese Tantrayana. So the mantras sometimes are different. Like Chuli, that's Japanese Tantrayana would recite Chuli, but Tibetan Tantrayana would pronounce it Pei. And the 5 Herukas are different from Japanese Tantrayana and Tibetan Tantrayana. They are different. The names are different, the look are different, and sometimes the mudras are the same. And Japanese Tantrayana is riding on an ox and holding this mudra. And the Tibetan Tantrayana, Yamantaka, is with the ox horn and also holding the same mudra. So some are the same, some are different. But the look are different. So we need to be clear what are the same and what are the different. So this is talking about similarities and differences. Someone went to have a fortune told, and the fortune teller wrote, "Your destiny is wealth and nobility and no great disasters, but be careful." And this person was really happy. And a few days later, he had an accident and had the leg broken. And when he got well, he went back to the fortune teller and said, "Didn't you write that I have a destiny of wealth and nobility and no disasters? And how come I got in an accident?" And the fortune teller took the note and said, "See, maybe you didn't pay attention to what I meant. They are punctuations." So it's wealth and nobility not there. So the punctuations are different. Wealth and nobility, none. And then great disasters, be careful. So different punctuations mean differently. So with that placement of punctuation, that's a huge difference. So the Bon tradition and Tibetan Tantrayana, there's only a slight difference. So the 5 longevity goddesses were from the Bon tradition, and the 12 Sri Devi, Mahasri Devis, also from the Bon tradition. So the 12 Sri Devi, or the auspicious goddesses, also from the Bon tradition. And then later on, they support Buddhism, they become Buddhist Dharma protectors. So there's only slight difference. So between the Bon tradition and the Tibetan Tantrayana, please remember there are some slight differences. So the title of the book was The Legends of the Ancient Gods and Chinese. So Sakyamuni Buddha predicted that there was a country, that will disseminate great perfection Dharma, and what he referred to was China, the country that would spread great perfection Dharma, the eastern corner of Jambudvipa continent. There is a country, and that is China. When Buddhism was transmitted to China, China popularizes it. And one important belief in China was Zen Buddhism. Actually, Zen Buddhism is great perfection Dharma. Zen Buddhism is great perfection Dharma. And Sri Singha is Chinese, is a person from Tang Dynasty that immigrated to India and learned great perfection Dharma. So Guru Padmasambhava is a disciple of Sri Singha. So Guru Padmasambhava was a disciple of a Chinese. That's the lineage gurus of great perfection Dharma. So there are wars in heaven and also on earth, between tribes, inside the family. So this is the wars in family. These few days I fought with my wife, and the friend asked, "Do you win over her?" At the end, I always say, after I said this, she was quiet. "Wow, that's great. What did you say?" I said, "Sorry, it's all my faults." And then the wife kept quiet. So this statement is very useful. Sorry, it's my fault. So men should learn this, because the wives are always right. And it's always the husbands who make mistakes. That's a song. Why is it? It's always my fault. Why is it always my fault? So who asked you to get married? Once you get married, that's your fault. The woman never make mistakes. Always the man. Even when she makes mistakes, it's also my fault. Only this way, the family would be in harmony, would be harmonious. Oh, please don't mistake it. I'm not looking at Simu. I'm looking at Lian Jie is laughing, and they're laughing. So I'm just looking at them. You laugh so hard because you think it's all my fault. Even when Grandmaster is wrong, he's still right. That would be the true Buddha Dharma. In America, I was in solitary meditation for over 2 years. Actually, it's 3 years. And the one who taught Great Perfection Dharma to me was Guru Padmasambhava. So I remember in that spirit attic, the secret spirit attic in Ballard, Seattle, you know, in that house that you all have visited. So I always sat in meditation there. I rarely get out of the house. So the one who taught me is Guru Padmasambhava. So he took me to Nepal, to an old cemetery. So the main character of the old cemetery is the dragon girl and Yang Guo that went into the ancient cemetery, ancient tomb. So Guru Padmasambhava took me to the ancient tomb, the old cemetery, and gave me empowerments very vividly. One is that lights radiated through his skin pores and radiated upon my body. And then I became another Guru Padmasambhava. My whole body is filled with light. And then Guru Padmasambhava transformed me to become like a drop of light, and then he ate me. And then I passed through his digestive system and was emitted from his generative part, his secret part, to become a light drop. So I was born as a light drop of Guru Padmasambhava. That was my second empowerment. And then on top of my crown, inside my crown, it was hidden the Great Perfection Dharma. The Great Perfection Dharma all appeared in my brain. So the King Trizong Dzogchen had his brain, had hidden Great Perfection Dharma hidden in his brain. So the one who taught me Great Perfection Dharma was Guru Padmasambhava. I sat in meditation for 2.5 years or over in Ballard. I didn't propagate Buddha Dharma then. Coming to Seattle was due to Master Lian Huo, Lian Si, and Lian Zu, their whole family, caring for me at that time in Ballard. Every night they came by and accompanied me drinking. At that time, Master Lian Cao came from Vancouver and brought Oolong Erhu wine. It's like 5 dragons and 2 tiger wine. And every night we drank that wine. At that time, I drank every night. Oh, he was talking that he hid the wine under the seats when he passed by customs, the whole case. So that was incredible. But I never got drunk. I never got drunk. I drank happily. So thank you to Master Lien Gao and also to Master Lien Ho for taking care of us. Because I didn't earn any money. I have no disciples, no red pockets. At that time I cried. I cried to Maitreya Bodhisattva and Sakyamuni Buddha. I said, I'm a living Buddha Lien Seng, and now coming to Seattle and was entangled here, and I have no money and really poor. And then Maitreya Bodhisattva flew in the sky, and he opened his bag, and inside there are beautiful clothes and houses and cars and beautiful dragon vests and Buddha crowns and gold, silvers, precious jewels, lots of monies, all raining, showering from the sky. So I picked them all up. And then after I opened my eyes, I realized I was in a dream. So in my dream, I saw Maitreya Bodhisattva, Maitreya Buddha, opening his bag and dropping all kinds of precious things. Crowns, dragon vests, clothes, houses, cars, golds, precious gems, and I picked them all up with joy, really happy. And then I woke up. Then what? Nothing. At that time, it was really miserable. The first time I earned money was when I sent my article to the Seattle News paper, and they published it, and they gave me $4 for the article. So in America, that was the first income. Only for So the first time I earned money in Seattle was $4, and I was really happy that finally I earned some money. And then I wrote articles, and I sent it to the Taiwan newspaper there, because I was close to the editor, and I had a special editorial there. So an article I would earn 500 NT dollars. So that's how I lived for 3 years. But good thing I still have wine to drink that was offered by Master Lien Gao. But now you shouldn't give me any more wine. He said drinking that wine would help with the tumor, with the inner fire. That's why I have hot temper at that time. The little lobster, when dating for marriage, and she's unhappy, and the mom said, and the turtle is good. A turtle is very old. I mean, live a long, an old life, and good thing it has a house at least. But the lobster girl said, what good is that? When we have kids, then we would call it. Well, this is Chinese words, which is like the acts of the turtle, but also a curse word, calling someone a jerk. So when I got to Seattle, I bought a house. Because 30 years ago, a house was only $80,000. Now it's very expensive to buy houses. At that time, I bought that house in Ballot for $80,000 US.
家庭要和好。
So, family should be harmonious. Talking about wars.
在夕阳底下，在湖边。
under the sunset by the lake, there was a silver-haired elderly lady pushing a wheelchair, and the elderly gentleman said, "Oh, thank you for pushing my wheelchair. I feel my heart is so warm." And the reporter asked the elderly lady, "How could you still be loving all your life until now?" And the lady said, "I broke his legs." And the reporter was speechless because then he couldn't run. Because after she broke his legs, then he is just hers alone. And then the reporter asked the gentleman, the elderly gentleman, "You're so old already and you still call your wife honey. How could you still do that?" And then and what should I call her then? Because I forget about her name. I forget her name. That's a loving family, Om Mani Padme Hum.